So this poem was written back in 2007 when Jahaji Sisters was founded. And the ironic thing is that my mother-in-law, who was talking to a lot of women in the community, said to me, "You do a lot of activism work all around the country. Why don't you do something for our women here in our community?" So she called me to task. We were sitting in her kitchen table, like the way organizing and activism tends to happen. And we started organizing the first annual Indo-Caribbean Women's Empowerment Summit. In the planning for that, word got out in mainstream media that a young woman named Natasha Rahman was slashed to death by her alleged rapist. She finally got the courage to speak out, and she put him on, and she was going to press charges. He was released on bail for $5,000 and found her and slashed her throat and killed her. A month after the first summit, another sister, Gayatri Hardat, was shot in her head by a boyfriend that she was trying to break up with on Atlantic Avenue. Both of these incidences was not mentioned in our community. There was no outcry. But at that point, Jahaji Sisters knew that the work that we took on and that we were about to do was much needed and greater than any of us had even imagined. And I had vowed that the stories and the lives of these two sisters, Gayatri and Natasha, will not go unnoticed, and we'll keep bringing it up. And I believe their spirits are here with us, and I evoke them and I call them and I say, continue to give us the strength as Jahaji Sisters to do this work to end gender-based violence. The poem is called New Kuli Woman. Tears stream down my face, and it becomes impossible to forget. Natasha was 20, Gayatri 22. They barely lived, plucked from the world as beautiful, blossoming flowers. I hear them whispering in my sleep, please remember that I lived. Please create a new world so other sisters don't have to die like we did. Please work for this change that we need. I watch you, Kuli woman, with unfulfilled eyes, longing to see my past, understand my present, and create the future. From drifting ports you embarked on the Hesperus and the Whitby's journey across the Kalapani, refusing to reflect your recovery. You planted and picked, sifted and shifted the honey sugar, sweetening a rancid plantation reality. Your children nursed from your breasts at home, hoping for another breath. And the sahib drained you dry under the sun of the fields, forcing death. Your drunk husband beat you up when the dinner was not sweet. The children were too noisy, or the money simply did not meet. The driver beat you down even when your body was too tired to thread the fields of toil and turn cane into gold for his empire. Beaten, you still rise every morning with the sun upon you, peering down and kissing your brown eyes open. Honoring you, I create the future, and the future is now. So I speak to you, Kuli woman, with a new voice, speaking of the old past as I try to understand this present that's killing my sisters. I cry to you, Kuli woman, with tears filled with rage, remembering times when Indian women numbered 1 for every 10 men. Were the seeds of distrust set so long ago? I walk on you, Kuli woman, with tired legs, lost from the path, hoping to reach an era of liberation that lingers before me and before you. I seek you, Kuli woman, as I try to get in touch with this new Kuli woman that I have become, honoring legacies, challenging contradictions, and creating her stories in poetry. Gayatri and Natasha, I vow to never forget. I promise to fight for the rights and dignity of women. I know that your death cannot be in vain, that somehow our society will realize the 2 brutal killings of our daughters, sisters, within 2 months cannot settle silently into the night just as another sad story. Tears stream down my face, and it becomes impossible to forget. Natasha was 20. Gayatri, 22. They barely lived, plucked from the world as beautifully blossoming flowers. I hear them whispering in my sleep, please remember that I lived. I hear them whispering in the wind, please know that my life was not in vain. I hear them whispering, I hear them whispering, I hear them whispering. Do you? Thank you, everyone. And I want to say that, as was mentioned by Rich, we're here because not one isolated incident. We're here because it's a series of incidents that's been happening over the past years, and it's grounded and back into the oppression that we faced as a people. And it's time to bring healing and dialogue and communication and a new way of being, a new community. And we have the power to create that change. We don't need to fight anymore. We don't need to fight each other. We don't need to fight the system. We need to build a vision of positive change that we want, and know that our greatest strength as human beings is our creative power. And we can create that change. Are you with me? Yeah. Thank you.
2 months ago, after my mother's hospitalization, the doctors wanted to put her on hospice. And I'm like, you know, they deemed her terminal. And I saw Mr. Thakur, I think the founder, on TV, and he was advertising this Indian community in Kings Harbor. It's a great Indian community where my mother feels at home, and she expresses her happiness to me whenever I come.
I know when I come, I feel happy. I stay couple and I see everybody, and I'm so happy.
I brought my mother here like a month and a half ago, and I haven't regretted my decision. It's one of the best decisions I've made for my mother. It's a home away from home.